Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Reverend Kate Wilkinson, and I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome to those of you joining us via our live stream. Today's service is called Sacred Path. But before we begin today's service, I have just a few announcements to share. Today is our Labyrinth Walk in Truro at 2 o'clock. If you haven't signed up but would like to join us, talk to me after the service and I'll give you that address. Next week, we are hosting the Interfaith Singspiration after service on Sunday. That's at 2 o'clock also, right here in our sanctuary. We'll be joining up with the other congregations in town to share our favorite hymns and songs with each other. It's going to be so much fun. So even if you don't consider yourself a singer, please come. And please also let me know if you can bring some treats for the reception afterwards. There are several other great events coming up as part of our Winter Spirituality series, including one on Zoom about creating a legacy. So many of us have prepared a legal will to distribute our belongings after we die, but few of us have considered leaving a spiritual or ethical will, a record of who we are, our values, and our wisdom stories. So if you'd like to sign up for that, let me know. We also have a death cafe coming up where we'll get together, eat cake, and talk about death. That should be fun. No, it will. And Betsy's going to be leading us in that. Thank you. And some soul collage workshops where we'll get creative with magazines and scissors. There are flyers for all of these events on the welcome table and also on our website, uumh.org, under the tab called News. Now, today is the very last day to sign up for our Circle Supper potlucks, which are happening Saturday night. That's February 24th. There's a sign-up sheet on the welcome table if you want to get on that list to attend a potluck in a member's home. Thank you so much to those of you who have volunteered to serve as hosts. And we've actually had such a great response to these potlucks that we've been adding more and more locations. And I think we might even need one more table. So if you could fit 4 to 6 people around your table for a potluck dinner, please let us know. Hosts, we will be distributing your guest list to you tomorrow, so you can be in touch with them for directions and such. A reminder that the office will actually be closed tomorrow for President's Day. We'll be back here on Tuesday. And finally, if you're attending in person today, we invite you to join us for our coffee hour downstairs in Acker Bosworth Hall following the service. So now let's take a moment to affirm our community's covenant. You can find this on the little purple laminated cards in your pews, or you can just listen line by line as I say it, and I invite you to repeat each line after me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
This is our great covenant.
This is our great covenant.
To dwell together in peace. To seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now, as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you who are watching online to light a candle wherever you are, and in that way we can feel connected even while we are apart. Here in the sanctuary, I invite Kathleen and Diane to light our chalice for us.
Welcome to this common sacred space. Common because we are all welcome. Sacred because here we transform the ordinary and attend to the profound. We carry with us our regrets, doubts, fears, stories, laughter, May they inspire our worship. Above all, may we each meet what we need most to find on this day in this common sacred space.
Please join me now in singing our opening hymn. It's number 12, O Life That Maketh All Things New. That's number 12 in our gray hymnals, O Life That Maketh All Things New. Now, we usually sing this song in the springtime, but I picked it today because it talks about being on a path and being seekers together, which ties right in with today's theme. So just imagine the ground being covered with dew instead of ice. Please rise as you are able for number 12, O Life That Maketh All Things New. Please be seated. I invite you now into a time of meditation and prayer. During this time or at any time during the service, you are welcome to light a silent candle at the table to the right of the pulpit, where there is a journal to record your thoughts and prayers. After the prayer, we'll sing together Spirit of Life, hymn number 123, which you can also find printed on those same purple laminated cards in your pews. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. This world sure knows how to break our hearts. We mourn for the violence at the Super Bowl parade in Kansas City. We mourn for the devastation of Palestine. And at the same time, we pray for the release of the remaining Israeli, Thai, Nepali, and French-Mexican hostages. We pray for peace in our families, healing in our communities. Our hearts break. They break open to hold empathy for the whole world. This heartache reminds us that we are connected, reminds us of the web of life tethering us to each other. Let us find here the strength to use our broken hearts to begin to mend our world. We call for a ceasefire in Gaza, in Ukraine, at parades, in our schools. Let us cease firing at each other, too, with our harsh words and quickly drawn conclusions, with our stereotypes and our prejudices. Let us remember the strings connecting us, heartstrings, supply chains, the roots of family trees running deep into the ground, the earth that sustains us. We are dependent. We are connected. We are one. Amen.
The first reading this morning is a poem by John O'Donohue, For a New Beginning. In the out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you.
Please join me now in singing our next hymn, number 1017, Building a New Way. That's 1017 in the teal hymnals, Building a New Way. Please rise as you are able. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. Peace and freedom is our cry. Whoops, sorry. We can feed. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Now peace and freedom. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. You may be seated.
Layers by Stanley Kunitz. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was. Through some principle of being abides, from which I struggle not to stray. When I look behind, as I'm compelled to look before I can gather strength to proceed on my journey, I see the milestones dwindling toward the horizon and the slow fires trailing from the abandoned campsites over which scavenger angels wheel on heavy wings. Oh, I have made myself a tribe out of my true affections, and my tribe is scattered. How shall the heart be reconciled to its feast of losses? In a rising wind, the manic dust of my friends, those who fell along the way, bitterly stings my face. Yet I turn, exalting somewhat with my will intact to go everywhere I need to go, and every stone on the road precious to me in my darkest night. When the moon was covered and I roamed through wreckage, a nimbus-clouded voice directed me. Live in the layers, not the litter. Though I lack the art to decipher it, no doubt the next chapter in my book of transformations is already written. I'm not done with my changes.
Now is our time in the service where we take a collection for the ongoing support of this meeting house and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection by our choir, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org. And there are QR codes in the pews as well. At this point, I invite 3 volunteer ushers to come forward for the collection. On and off site, your offerings will now be gratefully received.
So while the choir is gathering, I would like to thank Melanie DeMoore, who wrote the song that we are about to sing. I would like to thank Kate for reminding us to be sensitive to words, because Melanie wrote this song talking about steps. So I woke up early this morning and realized that the song said steps, and paying honor to people who are differently able, I took the liberty of changing the words to let's move forward. And that's because we have a labyrinth today, and I wanted to talk about walking, which I have been doing ever since I knew that the labyrinth was coming. I think about my steps, and I do have steps, but I think about moving forward too. So there's a part for you to sing with us, because this is a call and response. So we have the words, but you do not, so you have to repeat after us. Let's keep moving forward together. That's you. Let's keep moving forward together. One more time. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. And lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. And you get to sing. Would you give me an A? Thank you, Brenda. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Okay, ready? I'll sing it first. Let's keep. I don't want to make it too hard. Let's keep moving forward together. Moving forward together. And lead with love. And lead with love. This is easy because it just repeats itself. Let's, but you have to go up high. Let's keep moving. Let's keep on moving. Did I sing that right? No. Help me, guys. Ready? Let's keep moving forward together. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Sing it with us. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. You are brilliant in this choir. Yeah. Ready? Here we go. I'll point to you when you gotta sing. Oh, you'll know. Here we are. Let's
keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. I know you're scared. I know you're scared. And I'm scared too. And I'm scared too. But here I am. But here I am. Right next to you. Right next to you. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Oh, you're not alone. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. Let's keep moving forward together and lead with love. And lead with love. And lead with
Thank you, thank you. Last week, I talked briefly about the Black feminist author Bell Hooks. Told you how her book, All About Love, was meaningful to me. Well, years before she began writing about love, Bell Hooks did an interview with the Buddhist magazine Tricycle, and she said this: "If I were really asked to define myself, I wouldn't start with race, I wouldn't start with blackness, I wouldn't start with gender, I wouldn't start with feminism. I would start with stripping down to what fundamentally informs my life, which is that I am a seeker on the path, a path about love." So today we're talking about being on a path, a sacred path, a spiritual path, maybe even a path about love. Last week, I introduced you also to the proposed Article 2 revision that we'll be voting on at General Assembly, the national gathering of Unitarian Universalists this June. The shorthand depiction of our shared values is this image of the pinwheel with love at the center and those colorful wings branching out from there. And I told you that this winter we are navigating around the pinwheel, talking about each of the shared values represented there. Today we're talking about our next shared value, transformation. You see it there in the purple. And of course, we're also talking about how it relates back to the center of love. Now, each Sunday morning, I greet you by saying, "Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning." Now, I don't know how much you think about those words, but if we're searching for something together, what does that mean? To me, it means that we don't know it all yet, right? There's more out there and in here. And it implies that we are moving forward in some way because we feel that what we do here might lead toward more truth, toward more meaning, toward more awakening even. We are on a spiritual path. Now, this idea of being on a spiritual path has been part of the concept of our faith for a very long time, even back when the core beliefs of Unitarian Universalism were articulated very differently than they are now on this pinwheel. Back in 1886, Unitarians described their faith in this way: "We believe in the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, the leadership of Jesus, salvation by character, and the progress of mankind onward and upward forever." Now, these words were taken from a sermon by James Freeman Clarke, and they were nicknamed the Unitarian Covenant. And you can still find this phrase carved into the stone walls of some of our congregations: the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, the leadership of Jesus, salvation by character, and the progress of mankind onward and upward forever. In 1886, these were revolutionary words within Christianity. You'll notice that they mention the fatherhood of God, but they do not refer to the Trinity. Unitarian, right? Not Trinitarian. And they talked about the leadership of Jesus, not the divinity of Jesus. And the statement lifts up salvation by character. We are not saved by professing our faith in Jesus or by confessing our sins. Salvation was about what kind of life we were leading and what kind of society we were creating here on earth. And of course, the Universalists went even further and taught us that we did not have to worry about salvation because a loving God would never damn us. But we should still be good people. In 1886, those optimistic Unitarians believed that society would get better and better and better forever, onward and upward. Now, of course, this Unitarian covenant was very much a product of its times. I mean, let's just look beyond all the patriarchal language, right? Fatherhood, brotherhood, mankind. And let's just remember what was happening in the 1880s. Why did the language of onward and upward resonate when they were thinking about the path of humankind and even their own spiritual journeys? Well, just a few years before, Darwin had proposed his theory of evolution for the first time. God didn't create Adam and Eve. We humans evolved from simpler life forms over thousands and thousands, maybe millions of years. All species change and evolve and adapt and become, including us. And this was such a new idea. I mean, some people are still saying that we shouldn't teach this in schools, right? And what else was happening during this time period that James Freeman Clarke ministered in? Well, the Civil War had ended in 1865, and so now, just 20 years later, Americans were rebuilding the nation, deciding what kind of country we wanted to be now. And oh my goodness, were things changing all around them. The world was changing so fast. Things were being invented that were totally transforming their lives. The light bulb, the telephone, typewriters, sewing machines, phonographs, the Kodak camera, the automobile, electric streetcars, Coca-Cola. A few years later, the airplane would come along. Have any of you been watching The Gilded Age on HBO? This is the Gilded Age, when the United States transformed from a largely agrarian society of farmers and small producers to an industrial economy based in large cities. People were beginning to travel more because now there were trains and roads and infrastructure. You could go over to Europe on a big boat and see art and hear other languages. These early Unitarians were immersed in the industrialization of the world, and they were excited by new intellectual ideas. People were gathering to talk about art and literature. They were having salons in their homes. Well, the rich people were anyway. Some people joked that Unitarians really believed in the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, and the neighborhood of Boston. This was also the era of utopian communities popping up all over the United States, some right here in New England, founded by these same Unitarians. You might recognize the names Hopedale, Brook Farm, Fruitlands. The plans for Brook Farm were made right there in the home of Ralph Waldo Emerson. It was a time of ideals and of dreaming. Surely, as my colleague Reverend Lynn Cox puts it, surely as society advanced, people would have the time to perfect their character and draw closer to God through personal growth and development. Onward and upward. Forever. What was less obvious to many, Lynn says, was that this whole system of expansion was built on exploitation of labor, and extraction of natural resources beyond what was sustainable. Because the people who were doing the preaching and the thinking and the policy making, because they benefited from this economic system, its flaws were more difficult for them to see. They didn't see that upward for some people meant downward for others, or that extracting resources from the earth really just can't go on forever. They didn't know then that progress is not always an entirely good thing. It would take us years and years to to see that. And we're still learning that, actually. We invented iPhones, which are awesome. We have little computers in our pockets, and we never need to get lost again. But now teenagers don't know how to make eye contact, and we all have neck problems. Gambling is out of control because we can do it from our pockets. We built a new society with so many opportunities, but who did we leave behind? That Gilded Age was just the beginning of creating the haves and the have-nots. We built up generational wealth and systems of education for some, but we expanded the prison industrial complex for others. We invented all these amazing things, but now we're learning how bad they are for the planet. All the cars and airplanes and plastic that make our lives so much easier are also causing sea levels to rise. Maybe our next transformation needs to be to become less dependent on all these inventions. I think we learned a lot about this during the pandemic, didn't we? We learned that bigger and more is not always better. Maybe smaller and more local is better. Maybe less is better. Maybe being close to 5 people is more meaningful than being Facebook friends with 500 people. But still, we believe in transformation. It's on the pinwheel. We wouldn't be here if we didn't, in some way, want to transform ourselves, become better people, become a better society. We have that in common with James Freeman Clarke. But maybe instead of always expanding, sometimes we need to shrink, go inward, recenter ourselves. And maybe the path is not a one-way, onward and upward forever path. Maybe it loops back in on itself, goes back to the center, like a labyrinth. Remember, we are walking a labyrinth today, part of our winter spirituality series. You know, the path of a labyrinth, it's not a maze, but it isn't linear either. It winds in on itself and it circles back in and then out again. Maybe that's how transformation happens. And so we need new language about change. Here's how they describe it in the proposed Article 2 revision, the long form version, not the picture. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Never complete and never perfect. I like this for a lot of reasons, one of which is that it talks about change being collective. We don't need to do it all on our own. We grow together. We learn together. And another reason I like this wording is that it feels more doable. Never complete, never perfect. Yes. That's exactly how my own transformations in this life have happened. Here's an example. When I was younger, I was so shy I could not talk to strangers. As a kid, I grew out my bangs and I kept them like a kind of curtain to hide behind. If we ever went out to eat, I would whisper my dinner order in my dad's ear so that he could tell the waitress. This shyness followed me through middle school and high school. It threatened to follow me all the way through college, but I also had this dream of becoming a writer. And that first summer, after my freshman year in college, I got an internship at a newspaper. And I was being paid to write. The only problem was I had to talk to strangers. I had to walk up to people that I didn't know at all and ask them questions. Otherwise, I wouldn't get the stories. I wouldn't get the quotes that I needed to write good stories, and I wanted to write good stories. And so I fought for this transformation to take place within myself. And on the 4th of July that year, my dad and my sister and I went to see the fireworks on the beach. And everyone else in the world was going to see the fireworks on the beach too, so we had to park at the school and take a shuttle to the beach. Now, people arrived over the course of several hours, so the shuttle system worked really well when the fireworks started. But when the fireworks ended, well, then everyone in the world wanted to get on those shuttles at the very same time. And we looked at the long lines in dismay, and we decided that we would just walk the few miles back to our car instead of waiting for the shuttle. And when we finally got back to the school parking lot, we saw people still unloading from the shuttle buses, and we wondered aloud how long they had waited in line for. And since I wanted to know, I went up to someone getting off of the bus and I asked them, just out of curiosity, how long did you wait in line for this shuttle? And the person told me an hour. And I went back to my family and I told them, an hour. Can you believe it? They waited an hour for that shuttle. I guess we made the right choice. And my family looked at me like I had 3 heads. They could not believe that the painfully shy Kate that they knew would go up to strangers like that and ask them a question. But I was not that girl anymore, you see. Except that sometimes I still am. I have more skills around this now, but boy, am I still a wallflower at parties. But I've learned that having a role, like being a reporter, like being a minister, makes it easier for me. When I don't have a clear role, I still find it kind of challenging to talk to people I don't know, unless I want something badly enough, like being a writer or supporting a cause that is dear to my heart. On Wednesday, I found myself going door to door in Truro, inviting people to a community conversation that's happening this afternoon about the future of the chapel on the pond. We've been talking about this here a little lately. This is the home to a mostly Jamaican congregation led by my friend, Pastor David Brown. And it's an incredibly sweet and quaint old chapel that I have done weddings in, and which I love. And it is being put on the market at the end of March, and I really want it to remain a chapel instead of it being chopped up and turned into a $1 million house. And Myra, who offered our reading this morning, really wants this to happen too. Although she let us know that as a Black woman, she was not about to go up to strangers' houses by herself knocking on doors. You see, our society has not finished with its transformations around racism yet. And so I found myself going door to door with Myra, using the buddy system, an introvert and a woman of color knocking on strangers' doors, inviting them to a tea party, both completely out of our comfort zones. And you know what? It was great. Everyone was lovely to us. No one shut their doors in our faces. Lots of people were interested in the chapel and coming to the tea. They have great respect for Pastor Brown. Myra and I challenged ourselves, and in that case, we were rewarded for it. And after an hour and 10 minutes, we were both totally done. We could not knock on another door. And I'm not sure what Myra did after that, but I personally had promised myself some kind of reward. Now I'm trying to get out of the habit of food rewards, so even though a cookie would have been excellent in that moment, instead I went to the library to pick out some seeds from their seed library. Now, if Lisa were here this morning, she would be rolling her eyes because I am obsessed with seeds. I don't need any more seeds, but I love to look at them, to pour through seed catalogs, to dream of the plants that they produce. And you guys, seeds from the library are free. And seeds are the absolute perfect model and example of transformation, aren't they? They start as tiny little rock-hard nuggets, and then you put them in a cup of earth and you water them. And with the warmth and the moisture, the seed breaks open a tiny crack, and a little living shoot pokes out. Because all of that energy for growth and transformation was already there, just waiting within the seed, sometimes for years and years. And then when you water it, it begins to grow. And it pushes through the soil. And that's the really exciting day for a gardener, when your first sprouts appear above the earth. And you tend to them so carefully. You water them, and you keep them in a south-facing window, and you rotate them, and you love them. And then suddenly a green leaf appears on there, and then two. And with enough love and care and attention and water and light, and maybe some fertilizer, they get bigger and bigger. And then you put each plant into a larger pot of its own. And then you wait for late spring to arrive. But you're not done yet. You still need to harden them off, which means that you slowly get them used to the wind and the cold and the bright sun that they will face when they go outside. So you put them out just a few hours a day, first in a shady, protected place, and then in the full sun. And then, if you're on Cape Cod, you wait even longer, right? Till Memorial Day weekend, when winter is actually over, and you can finally bring your plants out into the garden and put them in the earth, and they grow more there. They get big and strong, and they start producing flowers, and those flowers are pollinated by the bees and the other insects, and they start to set fruit. And then, 5 months after you planted that seed, you have a tomato. And it's not like a store-bought tomato. It's like sunshine distilled into a fragile orb with skin and flesh and seeds of its own. Those seeds from before, transformed. And this is also how our transformations take place. They take time. They take attention and care. And if you want your transformation to stick, you have to kind of harden yourself off. Expose yourself to the elements for short periods of time, and then retreat to a more comfortable place. And then risk going out again, making yourself stronger each time, journeying inward and outward like a labyrinth, like a seed. It helps to have a buddy. And it's good to have a community to be accountable to, who can also cheer you on. That's what this community of faith is for, to love us as we are, but also to help us transform, to become better people, to create a better society. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Never complete. Never perfect. Friends, this is what I think that purple wing of the pinwheel means. I am a seeker on a path about love. And I am not done with my changes. May it be so for you also. Amen. And blessed be.
It has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of sharing at coffee hour today or with friends during the week. And if you'd like to delve deeper into the question, we invite you to join us at our Zoom coffee hour on Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. Please contact the office if you need that link. Our question this week is, tell us about a transformation that has taken place on your life's path. Tell us about a transformation that has taken place on your life's path.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for joining us online. I'll end with these closing words. We are seekers on a path, like seeds from the library. All the energy that is needed for change and growth is waiting within us, sometimes for years. Together, may we give ourselves the water and the warmth and the light needed for our transformations to happen. And together, may we work at transforming this world. Go in peace.